what we're called into right now is a time of expectation that the whole world, is in some sense living in a kind of Holy Saturday, what's what the church has called Holy Saturday, at the time between Christ being crucified on Friday and entering into the tomb, and we're awaiting resurrection. So I think this is a time when we have an opportunity to learn the meaning of that in a new way, in a way that enriches for us what it means to anticipate resurrection and new life. And so for us, it's like we're living in a storyline right now, is kind of within the grand story. We're living in a storyline of waiting for a return to things as normal as we're used to, back to time when we can be together.
I think I might even want to go a bit more fundamental than that, using this as a springboard when you say these old stories that are part of our DNA, or situations where God turned around, what looked really bleak into something that is hopeful and meaningful. I think we can go right back to the DNA of what Christianity is. We're now approaching Passiontide again, Good Friday and Easter. If you think back to what it was like to stand under the cross for those who were there was nothing more bleak, nothing more meaningless, nothing more hopeless than this most violent of deaths that Christ suffered. And they obviously did not know that wasn't the end. But in God's hands, and in God's hands only, the dead body of Christ became the first fruits of a new creation. And I think that's one of the lessons that Passiontide can teach us, and that so many other occasions in history, I guess, can teach us, is that in God's hands, even the bleakest of all darkness can be transformed into something which we don't quite see initially, perhaps, but it can be transformed into something where there's meaning, where there is hope, where there is light. And I don't think we should say this lightly and piously, because none of those occasions have been just easy. And I mean, the cross least of all, right? So, but it's something that is part of our common story, that is the reason for every hope, the reason for all life. And I think really, like, especially for me, reflecting in this Lenten time, what to think of the situation, which for many of us is frightening and is dark and seems oppressive, to remember that in God's hands, those dark situations need not remain dark, that there may be all sorts of things springing up that we don't know yet at the moment, and that we also cannot foresee, that may be meaningful and hopeful. And I believe that will happen and is already happening.
So within this storyline, we're waiting for this return to a kind of resurrected life together. But ultimately, of course, we're all still existing in the expectation of the resurrection in the end, the grand resurrection, the time when God makes the world anew, which is the promise that's given to us on Easter. It's the promise that Christ makes to us at the last communion meal, that the next time we're all together celebrating this meal, we'll be in paradise when God's purpose for this world is completed.
We proudly espouse our belief in the Lordship of Jesus Christ, and I think we have to remind ourselves of that, that our hope does not come from any political party, any political leaders. Our hope comes from the one who died on that Friday, stayed in the grave for those 3 days, but got up early on Easter morning with the angels pushing the stones back from the grave. And Jesus, who says, I am the way, the truth, and the life, got up declaring that all power in heaven and on earth is in my hands. That is the one to whom we look. That is the one in whom we put our complete trust and confidence in.